The cardboard box shook ever so slightly in the man's hands, but not because it was heavy. It was because everyone in the executive boardroom was staring at him in complete silence. The CEO had just barked 4 cold words that echoed through the glass walls like a gunshot: "Do as I said, or quit." No one expected what happened next. The single father didn't argue. He didn't beg. He didn't defend himself. He quietly nodded, walked to his desk, packed the few things that belonged to him, and started toward the door with calm dignity. And then, the entire room froze for a reason no one could have imagined. Before we continue, if you believe kindness still matters, that people deserve second chances, and that character is worth more than status, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share this story with someone who needs hope today. We'd also love to know, where are you watching from? Tell us in the comments below. Corbin Hale had never imagined that his life would lead him to the headquarters of one of the largest technology companies in the country. 3 years earlier, he had been a respected systems engineer with a growing career, a loving wife, and dreams of giving his little son a wonderful future. Then everything changed within months. His wife passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise 5-year-old Rowan. Hospital bills drained every savings account they had, and grief made concentrating at work almost impossible. Eventually, Corbin lost the high-paying job he had once loved. Since then, every single day had become a battle between survival and fatherhood. He drove for delivery services before sunrise, repaired computers in the evenings, and accepted temporary office maintenance work whenever possible. Sleep became a luxury. Yet every morning, Rowan woke up believing his father was the strongest man in the world because Corbin never allowed his son to see him break. When Kellington Dynamics announced they were hiring facility coordinators, Corbin knew the position paid enough to finally provide stability. It wasn't glamorous, but it offered health insurance, regular hours, and a chance to spend evenings helping Rowan with homework instead of chasing another paycheck across the city. For almost 9 months, Corbin became the invisible man inside the company. He arrived before sunrise. He cleaned conference rooms before executives arrived. He fixed broken equipment without asking for recognition. He quietly solved problems that others ignored. Many employees knew him only as the maintenance guy, never realizing he held engineering certifications that some managers didn't possess. Corbin never corrected anyone. Pride couldn't pay rent. Humility kept food on the table. Only one person constantly made his days difficult. CEO Victoria Mercer believed results mattered more than people. Brilliant, ambitious, and feared throughout the company, she expected perfection from everyone. She rarely remembered employees' names below the executive level. To her, Corbin was simply another worker whose job was to obey orders without question. One rainy Monday morning, a critical investor presentation was scheduled. Every executive rushed through the building preparing for the biggest meeting of the year. While replacing a damaged electrical panel near the conference floor, Corbin noticed something alarming. One of the backup power systems had begun overheating. If left running, it could short out during the presentation, or worse, start an electrical fire. He immediately reported the danger. A junior manager dismissed him. Corbin insisted. Another supervisor told him to stay in his lane. Still worried, he documented everything and requested immediate shutdown of the system. The request eventually reached Victoria Mercer. She stormed downstairs furious that someone in maintenance had interrupted executive preparations. Without listening to the full explanation, she accused Corbin of delaying the company's most important meeting. Employees gathered nearby as tension filled the hallway. Then came the words nobody forgot. "If you can't follow instructions, do as I said or quit." Silence swallowed the corridor. Many expected Corbin to apologize. Others expected him to argue. Instead, he simply looked at Victoria for a long moment. There was disappointment in his eyes, but no anger. He quietly removed his employee badge. He walked to the maintenance office. Packed a family photograph, a coffee mug Rowan had painted in kindergarten, 2 notebooks, and a small green plant his son insisted would keep Daddy company at work. Without saying another word, he carried the box toward the lobby. The employees watching felt strangely uncomfortable. There was something about the quiet dignity in the way he walked that made the CEO's victory feel like everyone's loss. Just as Corbin reached the front doors, the building lights flickered violently. A loud explosion echoed somewhere below. Smoke alarms erupted throughout the headquarters. People screamed. Emergency lights flashed red across every floor. The overloaded backup system Corbin had warned about had finally failed. Within seconds, elevators stopped between floors, servers shut down, and hundreds of employees began evacuating in confusion. Victoria stood frozen. Everything Corbin had predicted had happened exactly as he said. Firefighters arrived quickly and managed to prevent the electrical fire from spreading, but millions of pounds worth of operations were suddenly offline. The investor meeting was cancelled. News crews gathered outside as employees whispered about the maintenance worker who had tried to stop everything hours earlier. An internal investigation began immediately. Security footage showed Corbin repeatedly attempting to report the dangerous equipment. Emails confirmed his written warnings. Maintenance logs proved he had correctly identified every risk. Managers admitted they ignored him because they assumed someone with his job title couldn't possibly understand advanced electrical systems. Then investigators discovered something even more surprising. Before losing his previous career, Corbin had designed industrial power systems for hospitals and emergency facilities. Several patents listed his name among contributing engineers. The company had unknowingly hired one of the country's most experienced electrical specialists to replace light bulbs and unclog drains. The board of directors was stunned. For the first time, Victoria Mercer requested Corbin return, not as an employee being disciplined, but as the only person capable of restoring the damaged systems safely. When company representatives arrived at his modest apartment that evening, they found Corbin sitting on the floor beside Rowan, helping him build a cardboard spaceship from old moving boxes. He wasn't angry. He wasn't celebrating. He simply looked tired. The executives apologized sincerely and asked him to return immediately. Corbin quietly listened before looking at his son. Rowan smiled and whispered something that no one else heard. Corbin smiled back. Only then did he agree, not because the company deserved another chance, but because hundreds of ordinary employees depended on their jobs. Over the next week, Corbin worked alongside engineers day and night. He rebuilt damaged systems, improved safety procedures, and trained teams who had once overlooked him. This time, everyone listened. The board later announced sweeping leadership reforms. Every employee, regardless of title, would have a voice in reporting safety concerns. Managers would be evaluated not only on profits but also on respect, teamwork, and integrity. Victoria Mercer publicly accepted responsibility before the entire company. She admitted that leadership without humility becomes blindness, and authority means little if it refuses to hear the truth. Months later, Corbin accepted a newly created position as Director of Infrastructure Safety. His office overlooked the same lobby where he had once walked out carrying nothing but a cardboard box and broken expectations. Yet the greatest reward came one quiet evening. Rowan visited his father's new office, looked around proudly, and placed the same little green plant back on the windowsill. "It belongs here now," he said with a smile that made every hardship worthwhile. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who believes respect should never depend on a job title. Before you leave, please comment with one word, respect, if you believe every worker deserves to be heard. Because sometimes the strongest person in the room isn't the one giving orders. It's the one who quietly walks away with dignity, knowing that character will always outlast power, and kindness will always speak louder than pride.